Please have a seat. Good morning. It's a lot colder here than Florida, by the way. We got up here on Tuesday, and my wife, I said, "It is cold." And she said, "You know, you tried really hard to get this job." So, well, first off, it's real nice to be here. I wish all of you success. As governor of Florida, usually what I ask people is to come to Florida and spend every dime you have. If you think about our state for a second, our state's funded by two taxes, basically. We have a 6% statewide sales tax, and we have a property tax, and that's pretty much all of our state funding. I mean, it's a lion's share of it. Tourists pay 25% of it, and so we love people to come to Florida and spend every dime they have. And then buy a condo, buy a house, don't use it. It doesn't matter, because whether you use it or not, you're paying the property taxes, and you pay for the rest of our state government. And so you sort of joke about it, but it's how our government is funded. It's how we've been able to succeed without an income tax. But I want to thank everybody at ALEC. First off, it's real nice to get the award. I wish I could be here tonight, but I have to get back to Florida. First thing is, do people really believe that the Laffer curve really works? Well, I can give you our numbers in Florida. We've cut taxes $10 billion, and our annualized revenues are up $20 billion. So it clearly works in Florida. You know, the first thing people always ask me is, why would you ever run for office? And I think a lot of people have asked you why you do that. In my case, I grew up in a very poor family. I grew up in the Midwest. I never met my dad. I had a single mom. There were eventually 5 kids, and my mom really struggled to put food on the table. She had a hard time. I have an adopted father who had a 6th grade education, and my mom told me the importance of a job. And so when I ran back in 2010, I'd never run for office before, and I ran. If you asked me the weather, I said, I have a plan for 700,000 jobs over 7 years, and I've got 7 steps to do it. And I answered every question basically the same way, and that's why I won the election. And at that point, our state, it was in deep trouble. The prior 4 years, the state had lost 832,000 jobs. Home prices dropped in half. The taxes had been raised quite a bit. Now, 8 years later, we've cut $10 billion of taxes. We've paid off almost now $11 billion of the debt, which is a third of the state debt. And we have added 1.65 million jobs. And we're adding about 20,000 jobs month after month after month. And the reason we're doing it is that our taxes are lower. We've cut 5,400 regulations. And I've called on every company all over the world to move to Florida. And it clearly works in our state. Our tourism is up 50%. We are stagnating around 80 million tourists. We're up to 125 million tourists now. That's what we'll hit this year. And we'll have around 400,000 people this year move to Florida. And they're moving there. They like our weather, but they also like the fact there's no income tax, and all the other taxes and fees are a lot lower. We also, every 20 years, we have a constitutional revision commission, and I get to appoint a significant number of the members. And so we got a whole bunch of things on the ballot, and I worked with my legislature to get things on the ballot. And one of the most important things to me this year was we got on the ballot, there was a 2/3, if the public approved it, it was a 2/3 majority to raise taxes and fees, and that passed. And so going forward now, it's going to be much more difficult to raise taxes and fees by whoever gets elected, which I believe we have to keep figuring out how we drive down our taxes and our fees. Here's the way I've always thought about it. If you think about as your state grows, and in our state, if we're adding 400,000 people a year, why shouldn't our taxes go down every year? Why shouldn't we be able to share the cost of government among more people? And that's what we've done every year. Even the first year when I walked in with the $4 billion budget deficit, we started cutting taxes, and it's clearly paid off. We worked to cut as many regulations as we could. I think it's around 5,400 regulations. We streamlined the permitting process. When I became governor, to get a professional license took 47 days. Now it's less than 2. To get a permit through our environmental agencies was sometimes years. Now it's generally just less than 30 days. If you're not going to get it, you're not going to get it. But if you're going to get it, you're going to get it right away. Just said yes or no. And just make a decision. I've been in business all my life. I've built companies all my life. And what was frustrating me with government was they wouldn't tell you, they wouldn't give you an answer. And so I said, look, just tell people no. If the answer is no, just tell them no. But if we can say yes today. Don't say yes in 30 days or 60 days or 2 years. So we streamlined the permitting process, and all those things just made it easier for businesses to expand. So I'm probably speaking to the choir, but all the things we believe in, less taxes, less regulation, state making their own decisions. One of the things I want to do while I'm up here as a senator is drive the decisions and drive the money and drive all the federal, what the federal government is doing, drive all that to our states and let the states be laboratories. And then my expectation is Florida will be successful at it. But if Florida, the way I looked at it in business was, if somebody had a better way of doing something, I just tried to emulate it and do it better than they did. And so hopefully, whoever has the best ideas, the states will take those best ideas and do them, whether it's healthcare, whether it's taxes, whether it's regulation, all these things. And by the way, Florida gets treated horribly when you look at the amount of taxes we pay up through the federal government and what we get back. We pay a much bigger percentage of transportation fees. We pay more than New York and get way less than New York. We have the same federal tax rates as our citizens have as New York, and under the Medicaid program, they get paid, I think it's almost double per person what we get paid. Why? There's no logic to this. So I believe if the federal government is going to be involved in the program, it ought to be involved in, it ought to be treating people the same around the country. It shouldn't be picking, some places get paid better than other places. So I ran this year, when I ran this year, I put together a very specific plan, 10-step plan to change how Washington works. And 2/3 majority of a Congress to raise taxes and fees, give the president line item veto. I vetoed about $2.4 billion of projects in our state to save money. The federal government shouldn't be able to shut down government and senators and congressmen and women get paid. You can't do that in business. It makes no sense. So if you don't pass a budget, you don't get paid. If you shut down government, you don't get paid. Just some basic things to make it all work better. I believe in term limits. I know that's not going to be the most popular thing up here, but I think it does work. So we have it in Florida. We have 8 years. You can only be in the House or the Senate 8 years, and you can only be governor for 8 years. And I think it works. So it's nice to be here. I hope you have a great day. I am going through orientation today. It hit home that I actually maybe really won. I was at Capitol yesterday, and they gave me an office way in the basement. But I did have a sign called me Senator-elect, which was nice. So, but it's real nice to get the Art Laffer Award. I've always respected what Art Laffer has done and how he's sold himself and the idea that less tax and less regulation works. Now, I think he's been foolish, though, to live in Tennessee. So every time I talk to him, I let him know that our taxes are lower. Although I used to live in Tennessee when I was in the hospital business. It's a beautiful state, but and I think they've gotten rid of a lot of the taxes that in the last few years there. It's a wonderful state. But I do hope all of you will come to Florida, spend your money, buy a house, buy a condo, and I hope you use it, but if you don't, we still do pretty well with it. So have a great day. Bye-bye.